All right, this is a sound check. Welcome everybody. This is Casey O'Brien, Executive Director and Principal Investigator of the National Cyberwatch Center. And I want to welcome you to today's webcast with Heather Ricciuto from IBM. Looking for industry resources for the classroom, IBM has you covered. Before I turn it over to Heather, just a couple housekeeping items. One is if you have questions, feel free to type those in the Zoom group chat window, and we're going to address those at the end. We'll save time for those. And be sure to keep your microphones muted. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Heather.
Thanks, Casey, and thanks for having me here today. As Casey said, I lead academic outreach for IBM Security. So in a nutshell, that means I spend my days talking about the cybersecurity skills gap and the gender gap and all of the wonderful programs that IBM has in place to help address those, as well as collaborating with other folks in industry, government, academia, and nonprofit organizations to do the same. So today I am here to talk to you about our academic resources that are available from IBM to educators around the world at accredited educational institutions, including those that are conducting non-commercial research. You may have seen, I don't know who's on the call exactly, although Will, I see you out there, so hello to you. You may have heard me talk about some of these resources in the past, but even if you've heard me talk about them before, you may find that that there are some new things on the table that you didn't know about previously. So I hope you'll all stay with me. So first of all, I just wanted to share on a personal note that I really, really believe wholeheartedly in the need for lifelong learning. I truly believe that if we're not learning, we're not growing, and lifelong learning is particularly important in the tech industry, and even more important, I think, in cybersecurity because of the fact that the technology is changing so quickly, the landscape is changing so quickly. We have to continuously learn new things in order to keep up and try to stay one step ahead of the bad guys. So here on my first chart, you see one of my favorite quotes by Vernon Howard, indicating to always walk through life as if you have something new to learn, and you will. And I truly believe that. So, and I know I don't need to remind all of you how large the skills gap is. The most recent ISC² report indicated nearly 3 million open and unfilled jobs in cybersecurity at the moment around the world. Of course, the numbers vary depending on what report you read, but the bottom line is the gap is too large. We shouldn't have the gap that we do. And when it comes to addressing the skills gap, I believe we all need to work together. We need to collaborate, and for me, that means even collaborating with some of our competitors in the business, because when it comes to addressing the skills gap and working on workforce development initiatives in cybersecurity, I believe we have to put competition aside and work together for the same purpose. According to Harvard Business Review, there are 6 key forces that are currently shaping the future of work. I want to focus today on accelerating technological changes, the growing demand for skills, and changing employer expectations. And of course, to talk about how IBM can help you as educators, assuming all or most of you in the audience today are educators. We have a number of programs available, whether it's specifically academic programs, programs that were developed as part of our New Collar initiative specifically. I will address also just our overall commitment to diversity and to workforce development. And then within New Collar, time permitting, I'll touch on P-Tech, veterans programs, apprenticeships, and tech re-entry. But I will say I'll focus on apprenticeships here. So First of all, let's start with our corporate academic programs. We do have a number of academic programs available at the corporate level through our Global University Programs team. Now, don't be thrown off by the use of the word university in that department name. The programs are available to community colleges as well, although you see them see the reference to universities. We offer award programs, which you see referenced here. We've got our IBM Skills Academy, which I'm not going to talk about today because that is a paid program, meaning that is not a free resource. If anybody wants to learn more about the Skills Academy, then you can always reach out to me directly and I can put you in touch with someone in our Global University Programs team. And then finally, we have our academic initiative, which I will speak specifically about today. And I should say, that by the way, I don't work in Global University Programs. I work very closely with that team. I'm specifically dedicated to our IBM Security business unit. And so, of course, when it comes to these programs, the corporate programs, my focus is in security. Alrighty. Now, when you go back on that previous page I was just on, you saw the URL for our Global University Programs. When you go to that website, you'll see a number of resources available, including resources that are not specific to security. They're related to other topics like Internet of Things or blockchain, quantum, etc. When you scroll down and focus specifically on security, you're going to find resources that you can link to around what we're doing in the way of research. You'll find a link to our IBM Security Learning Academy, which I'll talk about in a moment, and then also some of our X-Force IBM X-Force resources as well. When it comes to, if you kind of hone in on the research piece, you'll see work that we are conducting right now, in many cases with academic institutions in the way of security research. And so I encourage you to explore that area if research is of interest to you. But I want to focus more today on the Learning Academy because my intent was to share with you some of our free resources that you can use in the classroom. If you're looking for course materials to incorporate from industry free of charge into any of your courses that you currently are delivering or that you are building now, then I really highly recommend that you go and check out our IBM Security Learning Academy. This is a full service learning platform available to anyone around the world. This one actually is not limited to accredited institutions. It does require that you register with IBM and create, if you do not have one already, an IBM ID. That's a one-time registration. It, for the most part, it'll, for you, as far as your benefit goes, what it does is it allows you to, to keep track of what the courses you've already taken yourself within the Learning Academy. And what I love about the Learning Academy personally is a few things. One, this is a dynamic platform, so the course, all of the materials that are contained within it are continuously updated by a dedicated team of people who are responsible for keeping it up to date, and in particular, keeping up to date with new technologies. So if we announce a new product or a refresh to a product that's significant, then they're in here updating the materials to make sure everything is current. And then the other thing I really like is that all of the content is in bite-sized chunks, anywhere from roughly about 15 minutes long to maybe 2 hours at the most, with the average being somewhere around the 45-minute to 60-minute mark. And you'll find how-to videos, hands-on labs, demonstrations, as well as the opportunity for badging. And the hands-on labs are quite popular. They're of significant interest to both educators and students, as well as, for that matter, IBMers, our customers, our business partners. They're a great way to learn some hands-on skills free of charge. And then the last thing I wanted to mention with respect to the security content within the academic, or sorry, the global university programs is the X-Force content that you can link to. And I do apologize because someone has rung my doorbell and my dogs are barking. Of course, they would time it right now. Anyway, if you go to the X-Force content, you can link to two things in particular that would be of interest, and you can see them here. And I'll just mention really quickly that we just released our latest X-Force Threat Intelligence report. And if you look up that report, you'll see that a shift in cyber crime activities has been reported in our most recent report. So a shift from phishing being the main activity for cybercrime to other activities. I won't kind of steal the thunder of the report. I'll let you check it out yourselves. And then, oh yes, and then another resource is our security intelligence website. So this is think of this as our own IBM Security online journal, and we have both IBMers and non-IBM guest writers who publish articles here on a daily basis, and articles on what's going on in the industry right now, what are the trends, various topics. I've written myself, for example, about the need for more women in cybersecurity. So you'll find lots of articles of interest there. And then we've also got our IBM Institute for Business Value. You can see the link here as well to that resource. This is where you'll find white papers written on specific topics by folks who work in our IBM Institute for Business Value. So for example, a couple of years ago, actually it's almost 3 years ago now, we published one on addressing the cybersecurity skills gap through a new collar approach. And I had the pleasure of actually contributing to that particular paper. And I can't believe it's been 3 years already. And I'll touch on New Collar more in a moment. But in the meantime, I'll talk about our academic initiative, continuing kind of on the theme of resources. So in case you're not familiar with our academic initiative, this is a little different than our IBM Security Learning Academy. It is a corporate resource, again, with teaching topics, relevant teaching topics, including security. So for example, here on the screenshot, you see cloud, IBM Watson, and data science. Here, this is the one that I was referring to earlier, which is limited to students and educators at accredited institutions around the world. So again, here you must register. And with this particular platform, what you want to do is register with your school ID, because behind, when you register, of course, we vet credentials behind the scenes to confirm that you are who you say you are. And what you have to do is agree to terms and conditions to use the resources, because they must be used for teaching, your own learning, or for non-commercial research, not for any money-making ventures, if you will. Okay, this is a little bit different than the Security Learning Academy, in that this is a self-service platform for, as I said, for teaching, learning, and non-commercial research. Here you'll find cloud access for both students and educators, and as well as access to download IBM software free of charge for use under these conditions, as well as some other courseware that's a little different than the content in our Security Learning Academy. And again, I already mentioned there are a number of topics. If the landing page for this particular site, it changes from time to time, and you won't always see security featured on the landing page. So what you want to do is make sure, if you're looking for security, you may have to kind of go a layer deeper to find security if it doesn't happen to be featured on the landing page. I've already mentioned that you have to register. So be sure to do that. I encourage you to go to the website right now, even while you're listening to me, if you care to. It's the website's as simple as ibm.com/academic. I wanted to just highlight that again, that there are many layers to this platform, and if you sign in and you go to the security content and you're looking for software and you click on the software tab, you're going to see right now IBM QRadar and I2 Analyst Notebook, as well as our QRadar Community Edition, all featured at the moment. However, don't be thrown off by that and think that's all that you can access, because by no means is it. You can see in the bottom right here that you can explore our full IBM software catalog. And so if you don't, if you're looking, for example, for Guardium software, you'll find it. You just have to go into the full catalog, okay? And when it comes to courseware, again, here you'll see a link to our IBM Security Learning Academy. So if you're out searching IBM resources, you're going to kind of notice a theme here. You're going to find a link to our IBM Security Learning Academy on multiple IBM sites, because, as I said, it's a wonderful resource, and we try to direct a lot of users there because the content is so wonderful. Okay, here I just wanted to share with you quickly also an example of how an educator that we have worked closely with over the past couple of years has actually used content from our Security Learning Academy. We worked with an educator at SUNY Plattsburgh to develop a 12-week pilot program last year, which I guess you would say is no longer a pilot because we have successfully run it twice now. And that program was designed to teach a small group of students SIM skills, including hands-on skills using QRadar, but along with that, to teach them some of the soft skills by giving them access to IBM mentors. So during the 12-week program, each week they had a homework assignment based on security intelligence content from the Security Learning Academy. And based on the homework assignment, they had to, as they were in two, the small group of students was split into two teams. And each team had to prepare a presentation and each week present to a group of IBM mentors who were joining them via web conference, just as I'm doing here today. And the students had to present to us, and then we gave feedback on their presentation skills, as well as the content of the presentation and how well we thought they understood the homework. So they were learning presentation skills and leadership skills, collaboration, as well as professional networking, along with learning the security intelligence content. And by the way, and they all earned an IBM digital badge at the end as well. All right, now let me shift gears a little bit from resources to our New Collar Initiative. In case you're not familiar with our New Collar Initiative, New Collar, what it means to us is a focus on skills, not degrees. And it's a term that was coined by our CEO, Ginny Rometty, a few years ago. And basically for us, it has meant opening up the aperture on talent pipelines and taking advantage of underutilized sources of talent, including those who we honestly may have overlooked in the past, because historically, like many companies, we've focused on universities and hiring people with 4-year degrees or higher. And given the talent gap that we have, we recognize the fact that we could no longer solely focus our hiring activities on 4-year universities. There simply aren't enough graduates coming out to fill the gap. Now, Our New Color initiative, it encompasses a number of programs underneath it, and one of those is our apprenticeship program. This is an earn while you learn program, and it's a great way for folks who would like a formal education, but perhaps can't afford to go to school full time and not work at the same time. So they have the opportunity to work as an apprentice at IBM in a number of tech related apprenticeships that we have registered with the US government. And those registered apprenticeships do include one in cybersecurity, and our most recent one, the hardware hacker apprenticeship. And then I will quickly mention also that we recently announced a pre-apprenticeship program. So here you're not working at the same time and earning a living, but what a pre-apprenticeship does is prepares people who take the pre-apprenticeship program to successfully enter an apprenticeship program and ultimately have a successful career. And if you're interested, right now, that's running in sort of a pilot, if you will. We've got a small group participating in this new pre-apprenticeship program, but I expect that to expand further as this year progresses. And one more thing that I wanted to highlight that is a part of our New Color initiative as well is the recent development and publication of some IBM courses in cybersecurity on Coursera. So we have 4 courses that have been published so far. I encourage you to check those out as well. And you take those courses yourselves or pass the opportunity along to your students, your friends, family, anyone who's looking for learning resources in cybersecurity online. And there will be more courses published in the near future. And then I think the final thing I really wanted to talk about today, or at least touch on, is IBM's commitment to diversity and collaboration amongst industry, government, and academia, as well as our community outreach. We are, IBM is very, very dedicated to diversity, that we believe in the value of diversity, not just because, if I look at gender diversity specifically, it's not just because striving to have gender parity is the right thing to do. It's because we really believe that and have experienced the fact that having diverse teams brings greater diversity of thought to the table and helps us generate greater innovation and therefore develop more innovative solutions for the world. So specifically within IBM Security, if I focus right now specifically on women's diversity, we have a group in IBM, a business resource group called Women in Security Excelling. This is a group of about 1,000 women and some men around the world, all who have a common interest in cybersecurity. So they're either working in cybersecurity or they're wanting to pivot into cybersecurity. And we offer events, so learning events, community calls, as well as a mentoring program, and then our youth outreach program that we call IBM Cyber Day for Girls. And the reason I share these things with you is because we often collaborate with community colleges and universities in particular to deliver our Cyber Day for Girls program. So if any of you out there are interested, you perhaps have a youth outreach program of your own at your school, and you've got students who are engaged in youth outreach, it may be possible to partner with IBMers depending on the location that you're in, and co-deliver our Cyber Day for Girls program. It's a program designed to reach preteen and teenage girls and build cybersecurity awareness amongst them, both from a personal perspective as well as a career and study perspective. So again, it's about opening up the aperture, right? Building awareness and helping young girls understand that cybersecurity isn't just for boys and that you don't necessarily have to be a hacker or a coder to work in cybersecurity. There are plenty of us who are not. And then we sponsor a number of programs or conferences like EC Council's Hacker Halted conference each year, where with that sponsorship, we offer a promo code for women and veterans to register for free. We also sponsor and participate in a number of diversity conferences, including the upcoming Women in Cybersecurity Conference, or WICIS, which is taking place in a couple of weeks in Colorado, and as well as ICMCP and others. So if diversity is something that's important to your school and you're looking to partner with a company who also sees the value in diversity, then I encourage you to consider IBM. Here are just a few, I always have to talk about Cyber Day for Girls because I'm one of the original founders and I continue to lead the program today. So I'm always very proud to talk about it. We have reached about 5,500 girls now. As of the end of 2019, we had reached just over 5,400 in 10 countries. So this is a global program. We just added an 11th country last week. We had our first ever Cyber Day for Girls in Scotland. And our goal this year, it's actually not on this page, but our goal is to reach an additional 4,000 girls this year. And so far things are shaping up quite nicely. We've got about 25 events in the works between now and the end of May, including one at Front Range Community College on March 11th. The day before the WICIS conference that I was referring to earlier. And then I wanted to share with you that we do sponsor a number, well, I've already mentioned we sponsor and participating in a number of conferences. There are just a few highlighted here, as well as competitions. And of course, one of them is the annual Community College Cyber Summit, or 3CS. So how can you as educators create opportunities for your students? Whoops, sorry, my mouse is a little sensitive here. I encourage you to actually work with other schools. Just as I said, I've highlighted that the importance of industry, including IBM, collaborating with other members of industry, as well as government, academia, etc. I encourage you to collaborate with other schools to address the skills gap and the need for workforce development initiatives in cybersecurity, and engage with your local business community. It can sometimes be as simple as bringing in guest speakers from local businesses, and explore apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship programs, and make sure your students know that these kind of programs are out there now. And then finally, encourage them to get engaged in conferences and competitions and clubs, because I will tell you that when it comes to hiring folks in, new grads into cybersecurity, we are not just looking for the candidates with the highest GPA. We're looking for students who are involved. They're going to conferences, they're speaking at conferences, they're conducting research, they're presenting posters, they're competing in competitions like the collegiate penetration competition, for example, and then or camp, school cybersecurity clubs. There are so many possibilities for us to work together, for your students to get involved. It's actually really promising and sometimes overwhelming. But I encourage you to do what you can, and also to encourage your students to apply to IBM. Again, I have a link here. I think, Casey, that the charts will be made available to the attendees, if I'm not mistaken. I hope so, because all the links are embedded here. And with that, I thank you and open things up for questions.
Thank you, Heather. Yeah,
You're welcome.
happy to make your slides available. We are recording this, so the slides will be part of that.
Right.
But we certainly can do that. Let's see, these are in no particular order. Melissa asked, who should she contact for Cyber Day for Girls?
Me.
And
You can start with me.
and what's the
Yes.
best way to get a hold of you?
I can, let's see, I can put my email in this chat. How's that?
Sounds great.
There.
Perfect. And I had I guess a question related to the apprenticeships. You
Yes.
mentioned a couple different programs. What are some of the challenges as an organization dipping their toes and into the whole apprenticeship realm, especially as it relates to information security?
Well, I mean, you have to have okay, first of all, I'll say I'm not an expert on this. I have not worked directly on it. One of my, I have colleagues who worked on the development of our programs and registering them with the US government, and then finding partner schools to deliver the programs. And in fact, I hope that one of my colleagues is going to be speaking on that very topic in the same platform next month. Casey, I know you and I are
Yep.
working on finalizing that. And she's, if anybody here is really interested in hearing more about apprenticeships, then I encourage you to attend that webinar. But I think honestly, probably the biggest challenge has been just that, developing a program that met all of the requirements, the government requirements to in fact register the apprenticeships, and then, like I said, finding partner schools. And if I had to guess what my colleague Jen would say about current challenges, it's probably having the bandwidth to actually take in all the schools that now want to collaborate on the apprenticeship front.
Interesting. So it's sort of a
Yeah.
capacity on
No,
your
I don't want to
end,
put words in her mouth. If she heard this, she might say I'm wrong. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if she would say that would be the current challenge.
Great, I appreciate that. Looks like Tina, can you share the IBM contact for apprenticeships?
Yes, I can, but you know what? I will do that after this call once I confirm with her that that's okay.
Okay,
Yeah, how's that?
sounds good.
Yeah.
And Heather did post her email in the chat room. Are there any other questions? Comments? Floor is open. Give it a minute here for. All right. Well, I'm not hearing any. Heather, anything else before we wrap up?
No, that this is great. If you have other questions afterwards, obviously you can contact me via email, and I'll be happy to answer your questions as best as I can, or to put you in touch with someone else, depending on the subject matter that you're inquiring about.
Heather, thanks for your time, and also thanks for just being a champion for, and I guess a champion for the role of higher ed in this space. It's very few companies in my experience really fully commit sort of all in, right, to helping to provide resources and, monetary, curricular, people, volunteers, you name it. And you've been a real champion in this space, and it does make a difference, and we really appreciate it. We appreciate your time today. For those on the call, thanks for joining us for the webcast. Look for future announcements about our next webcast, which is tentatively slated for the last Thursday in March, same time, same place. So stay tuned, and thanks everybody, and have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Thanks, Casey. And if anybody will be at WESIS, come look for me at our IBM booth. Happy to
Take
meet you
care.
face to face. Okay.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.